Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kelly McElligott, and I work on the sales team with Bywater Solutions. And today we are having a webinar about Koha's top features. This webinar will be recorded and shared on our YouTube channel, as all our webinars are. So if this is your first time with us today, please feel free to explore our playlists on our YouTube channel, and I'll go ahead and share that in chat. You know, as I thought about this webinar today, I didn't know how I could honestly decide what to talk about today, because I think everything's a top feature in Koha. And so I found myself really struggling to decide what to talk about. But, you know, we're going to talk about Koha and just, you know, share all the things that I can fit in. And I'm going to pull up that. I lost my tab. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm thinking about all the things we can talk about. Okay. You know, if this is your first time seeing Koha, welcome. This is actually brand new UX design coming in that came in the most recent release with the Koha system. And, you know, as we think about one of the top features in Koha, I think for me, and I think a lot of libraries, it's the ability that it's web-based. So both your Koha OPAC and your staff interface, IT from Galveston, both your staff interface and your OPAC is web-based, which means you're able to access both the staff interface and the OPAC from any computer, any device, any tablet that has an internet browser. So think of all the possibilities that come to mind when you're thinking about your library and how you can get out into the community, or you have some extra money and you decided to create a bookmobile or a bikemobile, or you want to be able to get out in the community and register patrons. And that's really one of those things that is a fantastic opportunity, especially if you can do it right on a tablet, wherever. So again, Koha is web-based. All the modules, every one of them, will allow you to work on it from the internet. So that's pretty fantastic. In addition to being web-based, it's also mobile responsive. So depending on the size of the device, it's going to fit. It's going to not leave out any of those great opportunities that are on a full screen, and it's going to show you everything. Let me pop over to just our demo site for this webinar today. And another thing that I think is one of an opportunity, and I'll talk about this a lot throughout this 30 minutes today, is just the ability to customize the look of your OPAC. And before I came over to sales, I worked in the education team with Bywater, and it was really great to see what libraries did with their OPAC. A lot of libraries had meetings with patrons within their library to find out what patrons would like to find on the OPAC, and what details and what information would be helpful on the OPAC, and how the OPAC should, in essence, work for the patrons looking for things and details like that. And that's just really fantastic for libraries to go that extra mile, or to think like a patron. I, for one, do not have Koha at my home library, and I have a lot to say if we ever decide to change, because it's truly a gift in my mind to be able to go to this beautiful OPAC, see some beautiful cover images that are being pulled from a free site. So we use 3 different servers, one server that has 3 different places to pull cover images for free for libraries. You're using the ISBN, we'll pull Amazon cover images, Google Books, and Open Library. So I'm able to have that nice visual representation of the titles within my library. As a patron, I'm also able to see some, featured lists that my library has curated. So you can see on my screen here, I have some opportunities for my patrons to see what's new, fiction and nonfiction, and then something like a staff pick. And I'm a big library user, but I also like to use the bookstore, and I always like those little shelf readers at bookstores, and libraries probably use them as well. But this is my version of an online shelf reader where I'm able to see potentially what others are reading. And in the summer, it's harder to get those, those top books. So this could be a good opportunity to see some backlist titles. So again, this is all something that staff can create on the OPAC to give those users that nice warm feeling. So we're focusing on that, web-based opportunity, but also the user experience, the patron experience, how the patron is able to search your collection, find the materials within there, and then how easy it is to, check out and get those books. This top area, we love a good Google search. So I have a nice top search the catalog that will allow me to just, do that simple search that we know how to do in those browsers. And then on the right-hand side is my opportunity to see everything I've checked out. So I'm already logged into the OPAC. I can see I have a hold waiting for me at the library. I have a couple other holds I'm waiting for. I unfortunately owe some money at the library, and then I have a few checkouts. So this is a nice little user summary to be able to give me a kind of nice look at what's going on in my account. If I go ahead and let me go ahead and search that ever popular Colleen Hoover author, Koha is going to go ahead and search my collection, the collection in the library, and push the most relevant results to the top, which are going to allow the user to be able to find exactly what they're looking for. There is also some connections through APIs through your electronic resources collection. So you can see I have a nice blue box for my Overdrive collection. There's also one for Cloud Library and Hoopla, which would allow your patrons to not go anywhere else when they're trying to find material. They're able to see exactly what's in Overdrive as well as your collection without leaving this site. They're able to check out from this site and see their checkouts on their patron summary. So you can see I have one result in my library Overdrive collection for my search. From this list, I have some nice opportunity to refine my list. So if I have a lot of, if I put in a nice keyword search and it gave me too many things, I can certainly go ahead and limit things such as author or item types. I'm a huge audiobook listener, so maybe I want to just look what's available in audiobook currently, or I could also go by different kinds of subjects and topics and places in the MARC record, which is also included here on the facets. Another thing I really like, it's kind of, telling the patron a little bit about the information before I even go any further. I could easily place it on hold and say, yep, that's the book that I want to read, or maybe I need to delve into it. I have both opportunities, and I also can see if it's available. So you can see a little bit of red on the screen. This one has something that's not available, but then there's other copies at different libraries if I'm a multi-branch system. But again, if I wanted to go ahead and just place that on hold, I could certainly do that right from here. Another thing I want to talk about before I move on into the Colleen Hoover world, we have the opportunity to create lists. So another great user experience to know that I'm picking a really popular person, and maybe I want to start a list of my to be read or my summer reads or things that I've heard about that I want to explore, and they're potentially not here today, but I want to come back to that list. So I always have the ability to save it to a list that's, to me, my private list, and I can always access that at any point and then place things on hold from there. So I'm going to go and add that to my current list here, not my cooking list. So maybe top titles, who knows, or let's just go ahead and do summer reading. I can type today. There we go. As a staff member of the library, you can create public lists that are pushed out onto the OPAC, either using that cover flow that we saw, those staff picks or those new books, or if you wanted to just create a list that users can utilize outside of those cover flows, you could use these lists here. And what I love about the lists, if I were to find a book within this list, just doing my random searching, it's going to link to that list, which makes me find other things within that list that maybe the librarian knows about that I don't. So you can see this is connected to my summer reading list. So next time I come in, I'll be able to know, oh, that's something I wanted to read and it's available. Go ahead and place that on hold, or, take my little bike and ride down to the library. If it's kind of a quick thing, or you're popping into the library and you don't want to log in and you want to be able to store that name, maybe you have a great memory or a bad memory like me, that you're like, okay, I'm just going to put this in my cart on my phone and then have that for when I walk into the library. So the card is just a really temporary place that you can, hold that information for people like me that don't have much of memory anymore. If you decide as a patron to go further into the title, you're able to see a lot more. Hey, there's a lot of, Colleen Hoover books out there, or Ellen Hildebrand, and you're like, did I read this? And you have a nice summary. So again, thinking about the patron and the information you can have. There's a lot going on the screen, and I can't talk about it all today, but just something to see for yourself. And then I have one more thing I want to show before we pop over to the patron account, is this browse shelf option. So this was, I'm sure, one of those opportunities during the pandemic that would allow me to be able to see what is around that book on the shelf. And this is really helpful for me when I'm looking at something like cooking and I want to see other opportunities that I might not find just searching cooking, but I can see what's on the shelf with those. If I pop into my account, and we did see a little opportunity here on the right-hand side earlier, just what I have checked out, a few things that your patrons will have the opportunity to see everything they have checked out, any finds, any of those overdrive or hoopla checkouts, any holds that are currently waiting for them. So a lot at their fingertips. They also can see and see their privacy. So what they're storing, they can set their messages. So what messages they want to receive. Hey, I love a good text message to tell me my hold is ready for me. So maybe I want to sign up for those SMS numbers and put in my phone number and get those messages that a hold is ready for me to pick up. So a lot of opportunity here on the patron side in the OPAC. One last thing is you can allow for purchase suggestions on your OPAC. So if your patron heard about something on a recent podcast, they can come in and make a purchase suggestion, which works with Koha and sends out all the notices once that purchase suggestion has been approved and ordered and received. So really taking a lot of work out from your staff back to Koha, and they'll do it for you. You define what's in that purchase suggestion form and what they have to fill out. So, I only have 30 minutes. So what I want to focus on the most in the OPAC for those top opportunities is just the patron experience and what they have access to, what they can find, what information is being stored on the OPAC. One last thing I forgot to talk about, I could do this all day, is the ability to really link in information about your library. For my library, I would love to be able to go to the OPAC and get other information without having to go to a website or back and forth. For example, museum passes. It took me about 20 minutes to find out what museum passes because I'm not sure where to look. So information such as links or other resources to your patrons can be customized here. So giving your patrons the tools. So think about how you can get all that information to your patron in one go. And that's what the Koha OPAC is trying for. We also have some more links up here. So lots of opportunity. Okay, let me see what Zoom this is on. Okay, 125 is probably big enough. Talking about the user experience of Koha, I want to switch over to the staff experience of Koha because I think they're both very similar. When you think about what you want to do on a day-to-day basis on workflows and step-by-step things that you're doing. And Koha was created in 1999, if you can believe that. That's, a whole century ago. By librarians. So the focus is on what a librarian does every day and the ability to do multiple things. I know you all probably wear many hats at the library and do lots of different functions. And so Koha has kind of integrated all the modules within this system to allow you to, in essence, multitask or to be able to do a task with less clicks, because it was designed for somebody who knows what a librarian is doing. That's just something to think about while you're, playing around in your own system if you have a different ILS. The opportunity for users, staff, to have their own permissions. So every user will have their own login and have access to different areas within the system. You can see everything with my login, and I have the ability to access everything. But as a circulation or a cataloger or somebody who's doing reference, their permissions may look different and they may not see all those. Again, refining what you're all on the screen and focusing on what that librarian is doing on a day-to-day basis. Just like the OPAC, it has the ability to be customized. So I have lots of opportunity over on the left-hand side and the bottom to be able to incorporate other resources to our librarians. We know that we're asked a million things. One of my favorite one was, why is the flag at half-mast? So I started, subscribing to an email just so I knew exactly why the flag was at half-mast, but another opportunity to put information on the staff interface. We've integrated a calendar. We've actually created a web page. So this is a private link that's only available to staff once they're logged in and click here, but it has some resources. So Koha, with the newest release of 2211, gives the opportunity to create staff web pages as well as OPAC web pages and make them clickable. So research available. This has the look and feel of the staff interface. So you can see that I still have the ability over on the left-hand side to multitask and head over to another tool or another module, but I also have some resources here. So I have some links. This is going to bring me to a Google Drive and a PDF link. So just an opportunity as adding more resources to that staff interface. On the bottom, I've added some reports. This was actually from another community member outside of our Bywater community, but a user of Koha that shared this in the Koha newsletter. And I thought this is really great. You have some quick links to those reports that are commonly run. And then any integrations that are done from the OPAC will also be seen at the bottom here. So again, a nice way to see what's going on and having that nice snapshot. So thinking about the workflows that you have within the system. So we have the ability to use this top area for lots of things. So it's going to default to checkout. I can start typing in somebody's name. It's going to give me a nice pre-populated list. I can go ahead and check in and start scanning those items to check in. And then I also have the ability to search the catalog. I have not left the interface at all. I can go ahead and do that same search that I did earlier and search within the database from the staff interface. But I have not lost the opportunity here at the top again to do a different check something in, check something out, renew something. We are always being, greeted by patrons with things that they'd like for us to do. So we have that static bar at the top that allows me to do that. The black bar, that further static bar, also allows me, without going home, to access all the other modules in the system. So again, I'm not having to click to get out of this. I can go ahead and access a different module from here. Today, I've gone ahead and removed all my tabs, but you can have tabs. So think about any web browser you're doing, when you have those emails and you're clicking those links and you're getting all those tabs to research later or to explore, but not lose your place. That's the same thing that the Koha web-based process will do as well. So I'm easily able to stay in maybe my reference interview with my patron, but I can also access the cataloging module in another tab, or leave that reference interview and then go to the cataloging. So I'm kind of a person that likes the tabs because sometimes maybe I'm not finished or I want to make sure I continue with that or remember to place that hold but then I have to go and do some cataloging work as well. So think about just the workflows in the processes. So I think for both the user and the staff member, Koha does a great ability of being able to allow you to do your workflows very efficiently. And that's something, another thing that we love to talk about within the Koha community is just the, user-driven enhancements that come to libraries. You have the power to say, I would love to see this. I would love for this process to be changed a little bit for workflow issues. Those are all something that you can do as users of Koha and submit enhancements within the community. There are 2 releases each year. And let me tell you, it's like my birthday twice a year, where I'm able to see all the things that libraries that I've heard about, or I've met the staff at those libraries that have gone ahead and submitted an enhancement request, and now it's coming to Koha. Once that has happened, everybody gets it. So whether, one library asks for it, everyone can have that opportunity to utilize that, such as, there was a claims return module, bulk batch update of due dates. The list can go on. This UX design was an enhancement. We had a new entire module in 2211 for electronic resources. So managing all your electronic resources now included into Koha, which is fantastic. A few things that I want to point out about just in kind of like your tech services area for, some of the Koha features that we're talking about today is just the ability to do the same thing a couple of different ways. So Koha does that in every module, I want to say, but in cataloging specifically, it's really important to understand that everyone potentially catalogs different. So there are 2 different cataloging editors. If I go ahead and I'm just going to pop into the record itself so I can show you those options. This is the basic editor. This is what I learned on so long ago. We have nice tabs. It's mouse driven. If I wanted to fill out the 366, I go to the 3 tab, then I can hit that 366 and I'm down right there at that opportunity. So lots of, seeing all the mark fields right at my fingertips. I can move fields around. All of these are opportunities to fill out data or leave them blank. There's some great help links here in those question marks that allow me to get more information about that mark field. But just the ability to see each of these tabs and fill out those required fields. The second way that you can catalog within the Koha system is through the advanced editor. For librarians that use OCLC, this is where it comes from, is some folks wanted to mimic what OCLC connection looked like. And so another enhancement came into the community to allow for more of a keyboard-driven way of editing. And so I'm only going to see my cataloging fields that have information. I'm still able to add fields. I have my shortcuts that allow me to add fields, add those delimiters. I also can run macros within the system. So if I wanted to go ahead and apply a macro, I could do that to the cataloged record itself. I will have any alerts to tell me if there is any bad fields. For me, that happens a lot with the advanced editor because I don't use it on an everyday basis, but I love the streamlined look of the advanced editor more than the basic editor. I can really get a good look at it. So 2 different ways that you can catalog within the system. Another thing that you have the opportunity to do in the tech services is just a lot of batch operations. So being able to take a group of items and change the shelving location or change the item type. All those tools are built into the cataloging module. You can also do that with records, batch record modify, batch record delete. So the ability to really change some things in bulk. If you think you're doing something 10 times in a row, probably you could do that in batch, that if you start thinking like that. You have the opportunity to import records from a vendor. You could export your data, do an inventory within the system, create labels. So you have a lot of opportunities within just the cataloging module. Not even talking about, we have both the acquisition module and the serials module to allow you to be able to track those serial frequencies and issues that are coming in, claiming those, managing expiration dates, all those envelopes that come in and say, hey, you're going to expire. What I love about the serials module, as well as the reports module, and we'll head over there in a second, is the introduction to a MANA database. So both the serials and reports have a knowledge base included, which allow you to kind of make your job a little easier. If you're creating a new serial subscription, you can go ahead and search within the MANA database to see if this subscription exists on somebody else's system that has shared it with the Koha community. And then that frequency can be brought into your system without you having to do the work. So think about how awesome that opportunity would be. And again, that's just really a great example of the community giving back. Wouldn't it be great if we all shared our stuff because we're all doing the same serials or potentially all doing the same serials? Let's share this information to stop somebody from having to, in essence, recreate the wheel. One of the other top features that I personally love about Koha is the reporting module. When I used Koha in a public library, I had no idea the capacity that the report module had. And I just wish I could go back to my former self and tell her all about how to use the reports module. It just wasn't an area I explored. There are some great opportunities, some built-in reports in all the modules. There's some built-in reports within the system. There is an opportunity to start learning how to create reports. So there's this nice guided report that will walk you through some steps and create the SQL for you. Another thing that Koha has is the database schema, which would allow you to see the database columns and tables within all the data sets. There is a report library, which would allow you, again, to see a lot of reports that community members have created. And so that SQL is out there and you can grab it and import it into the system. Most recently, although the Koha report library is really fantastic, it was thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to copy and paste, we could directly import it. So now you have the opportunity to search a knowledge base for other folks' reports that would give you the SQL for reports that you want to create within the system. So if you go ahead and just search a keyword, you're able to see other folks' reports and see the actual SQL and simply import it into the system for you. Then it's yours and you can go ahead and run it or edit it as necessary. So that knowledge is all out there and we're doing a huge job of being able to share that information with each other. Let me go ahead and just show you how the reports are structured. They're structured by module. You have some searching capability over on the left. You can have some additional modules if you want to add some. I've obviously gone ahead and created my own. But another opportunity that you have, any report within the system, you can immediately run. So any report that's here, you can go ahead and hit that run action here. This is just a circ report that I wanted to show, just to show you what an SQL report would look like and your capabilities when you're running that report. So this is just, let's go ahead and click this show. This is a SQL report that says, hey, show me all my circs for the year that year I just entered, 2023, by month. So it's gone ahead and added that for me. I can see the SQL. I can go ahead and edit that. I could schedule any report within the system, either on a one-time go with this button, or with Bywater, they'll go ahead and email you any reports results at any desired frequency. You can download any report. You can also create a chart. So we have a chart of pie, bar, line. I always think of blueberry pie. Hit that draw, and I'm able to see that information that my SQL report created by visualization. Amazing, just amazing. So the data that's in the system is so reportable. Part of Bywater's support package includes report writing. So do not fear if you do not know SQL and you could not think about trying to learn a new process, such as, that's fine. That is part of our support package and included. And I can tell you I didn't know it right from the beginning, and I'm still learning, but I love it anyways. And finally, there was one more thing that I wanted to talk about before we wrap it up. And I think I lost my tab, but I'm just going to head over to my Bywater Solutions webpage. If you want any more information, you could head over to bywatersolutions.com for, you could schedule a demo through here. You could learn more, get more resources about Koha from this page. What I wanted to show to you is the integrations that Koha can connect to. So if I scroll down a little bit, and I'll add this link into the chat, but this talks about all the third-party products that Koha can connect to, because we can interface with I can't say everything, but we act as a Z39 server. We're SIP2 compliant. So if there's any kind of pay system that's SIP compliant, we can do that, or you're in Visionware or your self-checkout. We do INSIP for any ILL resource sharing. There are open APIs that we connect to. So you can see as I scroll down, just the plethora of things that once you have Koha, you're able to easily make those connections and streamline it. And that would be part of that migration package. We don't charge you for any of those connections. We do that for you. And this will show you all the things that we currently connect to, EDI ordering, discovery platforms such as Aspen, which we also support. There's your ILL services. A hot thing is Communico or Patron Point. So we definitely connect to those applications. We connect to phone services such as Twilio or Shoutbomb, and then of course your self-checkout machines and RFIDs. So just really, wrapping it up today, I think that I just want to say thank you so much for coming. I want to pop over to, we have a few more webinars. Wow, look at all the questions, Jesse. Thank you